to the second episode of MacNX and EDCO collaboration. For today's episode, it's going to be a fun one. I was instructed to grab some libations from whatever's in the fridge, and I'm going to set up outside. We have a special guest, Adam, that's going to join us today and show us how to make some fun summertime cocktails. So looking forward to it, and I'll see you guys out there.
We are happy to welcome our guest, Adam Eschball, coming from the microbrew-rich Raleigh, North Carolina area. Adam is the general manager and a partner of the Mason Jar Lager Company. Before that, he was the bar manager for 2 locations at their affiliated Mason Jar Tavern restaurants. He's also the founder and partner of 919 Beer, a craft beer promotions company that puts on Beericana, the popular craft beer music festival held in Holly Springs, North Carolina. And Adam is a co-host of the 919 Beer podcast, a local podcast and radio show that's affiliated with the Raleigh, North Carolina ESPN radio affiliate 99.1 The Fan. Adam, welcome to today's topics. And before we get to your beer cocktail demonstration, tell us why the Raleigh, North Carolina area is so popular and flooded with microbrews.
Well, first off, thank you both for having me. Looking forward to our discussion here. Raleigh, our area, our central North Carolina area, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, is called the Triangle. And I moved here from Maryland in 2006, and there were 3 or 4 breweries max. And since then, I think we've got over like 50 in that whole area, central North Carolina. A lot of that has to do with some legislation back in 2005. Beer brewed in North Carolina could not be over 6%. Beer sold in North Carolina could not be over 6%. We called that the Pop the Cap Act, and it raised that percentage from 6% up to 15%. So it really, it let people start brewing a lot more things, and it really opened up a lot of avenues for people to really get interested in what craft beer is. It's not just that fizzy yellow stuff your dad drank back in the day or you grew up drinking in college. You know, there's a lot of variety. You know, we've got a good amount of wineries toward the western part of the state too. And you know how complex wine can be. A lot of people don't know how complex beer can be. And now I think it's just, obviously across the country, there's been this great influx of new microbreweries, and that has a lot to do with just its boom in popularity everywhere. I mean, you look at the Brewers Association numbers, I think we're over like 6,000 breweries in the country now. It's gotten crazy. I know there's over 400 breweries in the state of North Carolina. 10 years ago, there were like 30. So
here's what we're going to do. Brandy is going to follow you from her beautiful backyard in Southern California. And we're going to attempt to make some beer cocktails. So what are you going to show us today?
So I've got two cocktailish things, we'll call them. One is an actual cocktail, everybody's favorite Bloody Mary. At the Mason Jar Taverns, we actually use beer in ours. But first, I'm going to show you just a simple summer shandy recipe. Now, you might be familiar with shandies in general. You look at a company called Leinenkugels. They're known for their variety of shandies. A lot of breweries are starting to dabble in this. A lot of times you look at a shandy and it's kind of a juice, like a citrusy grapefruit or lemon juice, lemonade mix with a beer. And you can easily make that at home. If you kind of want a beer, you want something maybe a little bit more refreshing and sweeter, or even more tart. It depends what you want to add. It's really 2 ingredients or however many you want to add. But with this, I recommend starting with a lighter beer. Like for Mason Jar, I've got 3 different ones. So this is our Happy Place Golden Lager. It's a Munich Helles. I've got our Pull Tab Pilsner. Not sure if you can see that. But that's an American style Pilsner. And then I have everybody's favorite Summer Crusher Light. Which is just an American light lager. When we make these for people at the brewery, we give them a choice of what base they want. 9 times out of 10, they want Happy Place. It's just a golden lager. So if you have something light in color and light, not necessarily in calories, but in mouthfeel, something that's not going to weigh you down, that's what you want to do. That's what you want to use as your base beer. This is about 4.5%. You want to drink shandies that are pretty low in alcohol because you want to be able to enjoy multiple of them, and adding juice kind of stretches that life out for you. You're not going to fall over after 2 or 3 of these. But it's a great for like a summer cookout or things like that when you're out in the yard and you just want something cold. So beer is your main ingredient, but then something juice-like. I've got a couple examples here. I just stopped by the grocery store. There was a sale on Welch's stuff at Food Lion. So strawberry kiwi could make an interesting combo. And then there's orange pineapple. I'm going to stick with straight up luchador because I just poured this out of our soda gun at the restaurant. We usually kind of start like half and half. It's based on what you want, though. If you want it a little sweeter, you're going to add more juice. If you want it a little more beer forward, you're going to go with a little bit more beer. But the easiest thing about these, you can actually make them in pitchers and just kind of serve them easily. You don't have to make them beer by beer, but it's simply pouring juice into the beer. It's going to change the appearance of that beer a little bit. But all it does is bring that citrus aspect into what you're drinking. Now, Brandy, you've got some Sierra Nevada Hazy IPA.
I do.
Which is kind of already a bit of, we call that a juicy beer anyway. Those Hazy IPAs are kind of juice forward, a little bit of citrus, very low bitterness. So that's going to be a beer that really works well for this. If you want to add some kind of other juice or some substitute, I don't know what you have there right now, but that's going to be a good beer for this.
So today, since we were playing pull whatever you have out of your fridge, I don't have any juice, but something similar would be a White Claw or Truly, where it's just citrus seltzer, and this happens to be the lemon flavor, which is perfect for summer. And that's all I had in my fridge today.
Yeah, well, I think you'd be surprised at actually how good that's going to taste. Look, there's no shame in crushing a White Claw every now and then, but there's also double the pleasure when you add it to a beer. So I don't think you're going to be upset with what you come up with when it comes to that. But that's you've probably heard of Shandies or Radlers. Radlers are usually grapefruit based. There's a whole big story on how they got started and stuff like that in the cycling community. I'm not going to go into all of that, but anyway, good for summer. Good for parties and cocktails and things like that, where you want people to hang around and enjoy themselves and not get too hammered too quickly.
Cool. Yeah. Well, cheers, guys. Let's go on to the next drink, and the next one, I promise I'll follow along at them step by step.
Cool. Our Bloody Mary was the first cocktail we ever did that included beer from the start, and with that, we always use a dark beer. So with this one right here, we've got our Stick Barn Black Lager. It's not to say you can't use a lighter beer. It's just going to change the body, and especially if you're adding a little bit of hot brandy, it's going to change the flavor a little bit. But
right.
The reason we like to use a dark...
It's 85 degrees out here, so I'm going to go a little lighter.
There you go. The reason we like to use a dark beer is just a little bit more boldness and those kind of rich, roasty flavors and aromas that mix really well with that hearty tomato-based Bloody Mary. So a couple things that we do in addition to our beer, which is our base ingredient. Obviously, we have vodka. I just grabbed a bottle of Tito's because I know that's everywhere. But you use whatever vodka you want to use. You can. We have several local ones here in the Triangle that we like to use, but Tito's is just kind of that easy go-to. It's not hard on the wallet, and it mixes well with drinks. Your mix. If you don't create your own mix, because we only have a few minutes, I'm not going to take you through that. If you live here in the southeast part of the United States, we use a mix called Charleston mix. It's actually made in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's awesome. The reason we use that is because it says bold and spicy, but it's really beefed up. They actually have a little bit of meat in it, so they have a vegetarian version as well. But we like the beefiness of this mix. What kind of mix are you using there?
Yep, so I'm using the Cutwater Bloody Mary mix. It does say spicy, but for the people that do like a spicy Bloody Mary, this one's never spicy enough. But that's why we've got the extras to go ahead and add in and make it as spicy as they like it.
Agreed. Well, let's go ahead and start with this, okay? Very simple steps here. I like to use a couple different glasses. But I also clean as I go. My wife is still amazed that that's like a thing. You can do that. But I like to rim my glass. I like to rim a glass first, okay? The glass I'm going to be pouring in. Now, the glass I'm pouring it in is not the glass I'm building it in. Like I have ice in a different glass here, you'll see. But I want to show you how to rim a glass. Do you have any rimming ingredients there?
So I have a couple ingredients, and then I have a cheat, but I already have ice in my cup, so I'll rim mine at the end. But I'm actually just using a toddler bowl that you put salt and whatever you're going to use. I have tahini and salt that I put in here, and I would usually rim it first. Yeah,
there you go. Well, so me being from Maryland, like Jason, we like to use Old Bay. But you can use like tahini, you can use a Cajun seasoning, anything like that. With that, I usually add kosher salt. Somehow that kosher salt lessens the salty flavor of all that Old Bay. A lot of people don't even realize how salty Old Bay by itself is. It really is. But I usually use lemon juice or lime juice, or you can even use like simple syrup if you just made some, to just wet the rim of your glass. If you have a cut lime, just kind of rim that. And really simply, you just stick your glass in there a couple times, and if you can see that, it puts a nice even rim of whatever it is you're rimming your glass with. Very simple. Okay, so I rim my glass, I set it over to the side, and now I'm ready to build my bloody. So I'm starting, I usually just put about 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces of dark beer in there. Like I said, it just kind of makes it a little bolder, a little bit richer. Vodka. I'll wait till Brandy joins me. All right, she's added her beer. Vodka, because we're making this at home.
I'm counting my ounces.
You can put however much you want in there. Usually do a pretty healthy shot, about 2 ounces of vodka in there.
And what are you counting for? It's pour.
Yeah, just we're in a pandemic.
You know, I don't know. It is Friday,
yeah, we're in a
right?
pandemic. Pour.
And then whatever mix you use, if you use a mix at home, if you make your own mix, that's awesome. If you want to learn, I could tell you, or you could just Google some stuff, because there's a lot of different schools of thought. But if you just want something simple, like I said, buy a good mix. I recommend Charleston. Out your way, Brandy. I know Ballast Point has pretty good.
That is actually my husband's favorite.
Yeah, it's got a serious spice to it, which is why I like it. It was a little too spicy for some of our customers, so I had to back it off and go with the Charleston. So you have a couple options here. I don't like building in my final glass just because I want to go ahead and rim it, and I don't like to pour ingredients into it multiple times. I just kind of want to pour it once and be done. But what I usually use, obviously we're at a bar, we have shakers and things like that. I will not necessarily shake this, but I will pour it from my glass into that, and then I'll stir it just to mix the ingredients. I don't like shaking this because you have beer in it, and beer is carbonated. And when you shake carbonated things, you sometimes get results you don't want. So I don't want to be splashed in the face when I take that out. So when I take it apart. But I have it here.
I'm just kind of using a kitchen spoon to swift it around, Adam. Is that good?
Yeah, absolutely. You just want to mix those ingredients.
Just mix it through.
Yep. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pour mine, ice and all, pour it into there. We are the mason jar. We use jars. Now, you're going to see here, I don't go all the way to the top. Brandy, you didn't go all the way to the top either, which is with part of the fun on a Bloody Mary is your garnish. So I don't know what you got. I'll show you what we use at the restaurants, and it gets pretty fun here. But we always have a shrimp, unless you have a seafood allergy. some sort of citrus, either a lemon or a lime usually. We'll put a pickle spear on here. You can't really see it, but there is a little bit of celery. We use some mozzarella, and then we'll put an olive on there. Sometimes we'll add some bacon into that. A little bit of salami or any of those kind of meats as well is sometimes good. Whatever you have lying around the house that that you might want to add to this is great. What do you have, Brandy?
Cool idea. Mozzarella, that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
What I found in the fridge was some mozzarella squares, some olives, and some red peppers.
Okay. Oh, yeah, nice.
And I just put them on a toothpick and dunk them right in because I like to take them out afterwards when they're filled with some juice.
Yes. And few people know this. If you don't have toothpicks, you don't need to run to the store and get them. Everybody has spaghetti noodles in their pantry. Break a spaghetti noodle. You can use that. It's a simple thing, and you can even eat it. Oh shoot! I was going to say something. Now I lost my train of thought. We talked about spiciness. If it's not spicy enough for you, grab some Tabasco, any other kind of Frank's Red Hot, any kind of other hot sauce that you might want. Even some good old-fashioned black pepper, will change that whole experience. I've had some customers here in the past that want it really spicy, and we've had some customers that want it dumbed down. If we have to make it less spicy, we'll add a little bit more beer, believe it or not, and that malt flavor, that malty sweetness will come through and kind of help soothe any spice down.
So, Brandy, we need to see you taste your creation there.
All right. Mind you guys, it's not noon here yet. We're on opposite sides of the nation. So cheers.
The big one too.
Oh, that's actually good. I've never had it with a beer, and it's actually good.
No, I have. I've never didn't even know you you could make Bloody Marys out of beer. When Adam told me that's what he was going to be doing, I couldn't wait to see the recipe. So I'll have to make one when I get home. I'm very jealous that I'm not doing this.
I call it one of the base ingredients, but it's not your main base ingredient. Obviously, your vodka and your mix are the highlights, but you can add whatever you want to that.
So Adam, let's end here. Give us the big plug on the Mason Jar Lager Company. What are you guys about, and where can people find you, and where can they maybe perhaps find your beer?
Yeah, sure. So Mason Jar Lager Company is about to turn 3 years old next month in July. We are a lager-only brewery out of Fuquay Varina, North Carolina. It's a suburb outside of Raleigh. We actually have 5 breweries in this town. So, we like to think of it as a little Saturday or Sunday afternoon beer destination. But we only brew lagers just because there's a market for that. And if you've paid attention to what's happening in local breweries the past 3 or 4 years, they've really trended toward making a lot more traditional style lagers. Not that the hazy, crazy sours and big barrel-aged stouts aren't still a thing. They certainly are. But people really are starting to go toward that really well-made, drinkable beer that lagers offer. So that's what we wanted to do and wanted to be known for. We are statewide in North Carolina. So North Carolina is actually a very wide state. It takes about 12 hours to drive from east to west, but it only takes like two and a half to drive from north to south. So it is a fairly large state. We've been statewide for about a year now. So you can find us in every major grocery store across the state. We are not across any other state lines, but for those of you in Maryland and on the East Coast that like to go to the Outer Banks on vacation, our beer is available there year round.
Very cool. Adam, thank you very much. I appreciate it, my friend.
Yeah, man.
It's been way too long since we've been in this room, and you taught us a good lesson today, and Brandy's loving her drink now. So thanks,
Yeah.
buddy.
Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
Adam.
Thanks
Cheers.
for having me on. Take care.